Hello and welcome to Video Games to the Max episode 484 on a Saturday. As this was not the intention originally, but I had to keep delaying the episode. But hey, we got a lot to talk about. GDC 2026 has ended. We got the official first news on Project Helix, the next Xbox. It is happening. They've already given the details on the preliminary stuff, when we're gonna see the dev kits go out, all of that stuff. Jason Ronald had a big keynote that wasn't given to everybody, but the press that was there got to give details. So we'll talk about that. We got the official report from Jason Schreier now about the PlayStation PC thing, and that they're not doing PC games anymore. We have a lot of news from the Newzoo report now about PC gaming and how much that has exploded, and the new gaming genre, which is no longer the battle royale. It's now fully the survival sandbox genre, as in one of the games that we're going to talk about here today. As I've been playing Pokemon Pokopia, so we'll get plenty of thoughts on that. Mark finished Resident Evil Requiem, so he'll give some final thoughts there. And I've been playing a lot of indie games that I'm reviewing, so I'll get into all those as well, and some other stuff that is on the docket as well. So get ready for all of that stuff and more right after this.
You are listening to Video Games to the Max.
You're muted, I believe.
That's not good. Oh, I'm glad it was just now and not the whole time. I don't know how that happened, but
you unmuted me and didn't unmute yourself.
Oh, I don't. Normally, it does it by itself when the whole intro comes on. I don't know what happened there, but maybe because I flipped to like another tab right when it was unmuting or something. But anyway, let's quickly get the housekeeping out of the way here so we can get to this full show that we have planned. If you are watching us for the first time, we appreciate you. We do the show normally on Mondays live around somewhere between 6 and 9 Eastern, but that's why it's great to be subscribed. Like, follow, ring that bell, and you'll know exactly when we go live on Mondays, and you can go and hit us up and watch whenever you want. Of course, you can always just watch on demand as well whenever you'd like, and watch what you want, whether it's us here on the video game side or you want to watch the other stuff. Our anime show, Otaku Cafe, they do a great job reviewing Anime Weekly. Basically, it's doing all the seasonal anime that comes out, most of the big heavy hitters, so, and some of the ones that they like personally. So make sure, if you really like anime like that and watch all the new stuff, be sure to check them out. And also, we got our entertainment guys, movie review guys, Relative Broadcasting. They just reviewed the Disney Pixar Hoppers movie last week, and they just also did the review of the Night of the Seven Kingdoms, the Game of Thrones show. So, interested in either one of those, you definitely can go check that out. Hello to anybody watching here. Appreciate you. And without further ado, we got a lot of games to talk about, so we might as well get started as we normally do each episode with the games we've been playing. Mark, since you finished Resident Evil Requiem now, you've joined Randy in you've beaten the game.
Yep.
Any different thoughts or more thoughts on the game now that you're completely done with it?
Yeah. I don't like the formula at all.
You don't like the formula at all? Okay. Why not?
It's a foundational problem. Like, I think Randy said he was more interested in what I thought of the second half.
Right, yeah.
It's basically
that's what everybody says is the second half. The first half is Much better than the second half.
That is wrong.
Oh wow. Okay.
The second half has problems because like it's just a bombed out city basically. But at least it's like fun because you have an overabundance of ammo and shotgun and rifle shit, so that's always fun. The problem with the first half is it is a series of collect 3 items to move on. You do that 4 times in Grace's campaign, where you had to collect, like, to get out of the hospital, you have to collect 3 prisms to open the goddamn door. To get 3 prisms, you need to find 3 ID bracelets. Later on, you have to find 3. It's not find per se, but you have to find. You have to find 3, or open 3, or turn on 3 power switches in this like facility, and then later on, I think there might be one more with her. I'm not quite sure. But then there's one with Leon as well. Like when he's in Raccoon City, you got to find like 3 pieces of a detonator for this bomb, and it's like, why can't? It's a bomb. You can shoot it. It's not like bomb won't work without detonator.
Right.
But yeah, so like that drags down Grace's quest considerably. Hunting down all this crap. And I'm now doing like a second run because it has like the challenge mode of like, oh, you can unlock infinite ammo, or you can unlock crap. You got to play the game multiple times. So now I'm doing like a speed run, no healing, and no using like the blood replicator thing. So it makes it a little more challenging even on casual because you don't have a ton of ammo with Grace. But then you really can't heal that much. You do regenerate some health, but not enough. But yeah, I find like the idea of Grace's campaign is really cool, but it's extremely formulaic. And it's like, oh man, this.
But you don't like the being scared part?
You're not really scared because it's also extremely like, I don't want to say it's. To the credit, it's not like magical per se. Like enemies or the girl or whatever don't just appear out of nowhere. Like you can kind of bait them around, but you kind of, especially on the second playthrough, you just kind of keep running away from them because you can't really shoot them that much because you don't have enough ammo. So it's like it's tense, but that's about it.
All right, fair enough. So it's not that you're gonna be frightened out of your mind or whatever. It's
no.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong; it's still a good game, and I will really like it once I unlock infinite ammo. I can just headshot everyone to death. Yeah. So yeah, like I like it. I don't think it's as good as Village though. And
wow, that says a lot.
I didn't play I didn't play 7 at all.
Yeah.
I can't comment on that, but it's up there as far as like quality, but it's not my favorite one. It'd still be probably Village 4 or 2,
Okay.
Or Code Veronica, but people don't count that one.
I mean, it counts. They're remaking it reportedly, so
right.
And
yeah, like it is really cool to go back to like the RPD, the police department, but it's like 7 rooms and that's about it,
Oh, okay.
Because it's all bombed out. Most of it's just gone.
I mean, okay, I'm sorry for the people that, if you're watching or listening and technically they have shown that in the trailers. That
like it's not a spoiler.
Going there. It's not like he's not giving you details on what's actually there. We knew they were going there. It's more about like, okay, you're still experiencing that, or
right. And yeah, Leon's combat's pretty good because he has like this really good counter with the hatchet, and then you can kind of upgrade it later once you get another melee weapon. So that's really effective. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm trying to also get the speed record in that game. You got to beat under 4 hours. So.
Oh, really? That's the to get like the achievement or something.
It's an achievement, and you get a bunch of completion or challenge points that you can use to like unlock the infinite ammo stuff. So.
Okay. Fair
and
enough.
there's one really insane. They call it a. It's not a quest, but it's like an objective or like a hidden thing. You got to replay the game twice to like unlock this doll. And it's like if speedrunners didn't figure this out, or if like data miners didn't figure it out, really, like you'd have no clue because the game doesn't tell you at all how to do this thing. It's like, oh, you got to flush this one toilet 8 times in a row. It's like what? Or you got to let. There's one part where it's like a meat packing district or a factory kind of, where all these like bodies are like going into a grinder. And it's like, oh, to complete the quest, you got to like one of the steps is you got to wait at this grinder for 5 minutes while like 119 bodies pass through, and it's like how the fuck would you know how to do this if you weren't data mining this game, you know?
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I'll be curious when you eventually play it.
Yeah, I will get to it at some point. I think, well, the problem is April is also packed with stuff, but I think once I get through this week, I'll be able to probably play it because I'll have most of my reviews done, and then even though Adam just sent me literally yesterday the Monster Hunter Stories 3 reviews. So now I have that to add to my immense plate, and I have another indie that I can't talk about because it comes out next week. Until next week, so not even Monday till the following week. So I think once I get past that, I don't think that there's anything. I have to go look through the releases again if there was something coming out that last week of March. If not, I may have a pocket between now and like the mid-April where we have that another big week like this past couple weeks where everybody wants to drop their indie game between April 12th and the 18th or something. So we kind of had that between the last, I want to say, month. People just kept dropping indie games, and there's some that I purposely did not pick up Slay the Spire 2 because I was like, if I have Pokopia and Slay the Spire 2 and Resident Evil Requiem staring at me the whole time, I'm never going to play all these games that I need to actually play to review them. So I'm not going to hold off on at least one of them to, keep myself in line. But yeah, so I guess I might as well go ahead because got a lot here. I'm going to do them in like release order. And we'll go from there. The first one is Love Eternal. This came out in like the middle of February. It is a horror precision platformer. So it's by Eastbird Games. They make they made that like Valhalla, but it's the girl that's like a bartender. And you kind of have to go through her story. And then there was another game that I can't remember the name of that I reviewed as well that I loved a lot. It's like really neat, weird RPG where they kind of like go back in time and stuff as well. But this is their latest game. It's
that RPG is called Chrono Trigger.
No, it's not. But yeah, it's basically it's like just weird. It starts off weird. You're at a table eating with your family, then all of a sudden you get shoved into this like underworld thing, and it's pixel art, essentially, and it's very much like Super Meat Boy 3D. They just revealed that it's coming out at the end of May. This is very much Super Meat Boy. It's set up for you to die a bunch, but you reload so fast that it doesn't matter. It'll literally take seconds. What's up, Cube? And so I didn't really think about like how many times I died or whatever. It's just literally you're gonna keep dying until you figure out, oh, I've got to jump from here and then go in a circle. And a lot of times you're gonna find like switches or whatever that you have to do to mess around with the rest of the map, so that you can jump from one side to the other side and then go through. And it almost kind of has like a Metroidvania aspect to it too, as well, because you're going to go backwards as well sometimes. So I liked it a lot. At first I thought, oh my God, this is not my kind of game, I'm going to hate it. And then I was like, oh, this is like Super Meat Boy. Okay, I actually like this a lot. And it's actually really short. You could technically, if you kind of figure out where you're going, you could beat it in like 3 hours.
Right. That's like Requiem.
Yeah. It's really cool. This is like their animated trailer, whatever. But like I said, the game is actually pixel art. Kind of looks like, a lot like Super Meat Boy, I would say, as well on that front. And you play as the girl, and you have the intermittent times where it kind of goes back to the story for a little bit, and then you go back to the actual platforming stuff, which so hopefully that's one of the ones I plan on reviewing. If not this weekend, is for sure this week, so I can get this off my off my whole palette of stuff. The next one is Demon Tides, which I've made kind of like as versions too, but I haven't like actually talked about it. It's really, really good. It's, if I said Big Hops was a 9, which Randy, didn't think that much of it. He gave it a 7 on his personal scale. This is definitely a 9. This is much more of your traditional like 3D platformer. Of course, this obviously is a sequel to Demon Turf from Fabraz. He's also the one working on the Bubsy 4D game, but this is his like pride and joy. This is his series, right? And they basically, this is a much better game than the first game. Like the first game was kind of like his, all right, I'm gonna see what I can do with this, and then he's basically been able to flesh out everything and make it so much better in this game. And then also, not only that, but be able to give you probably what you wanted in the first game, but it's bigger, right? So you can go around different worlds, and you can go and platform through. You basically are, and you have your friends that kind of help you out, your team of friends. And there's a big map, and you go and collect stuff, and there's bosses and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I have not, gotten close to beating it or anything, but just they keep giving you moves that you can do. And I love just the freedom of being able to go to different islands or whatnot as well. They did a great job with that. So hats off to Fabraz and the team there on this. Probably definitely going to be one of the ones, if you do genres for your game of the year, this is probably going to be in the best platformer genre for sure. Just fantastic all around. And if you really like 3D platformers, like I hope Randy gets to try this out. And would love to see what he thinks, since he loves those as well. But yeah, definitely if you're looking for a platformer, this was one to check out for sure. It's out on PC now. It'll be out on consoles at some point this year, so be looking out for it. After that, I think Homura Hime is technically next, because that came out in the first week of March. This is a anime action third person action game. You are an exorcist, which is named Homura Hime, and they say her name constantly because you have this other character that is essentially like your guide through the game or whatever. And you know, you could probably say it's supposed to be like sort of that annoying character, you
Right.
know, that's there to kind of like be, oh hey, I'm telling you what to do, but not, and showing you the way. And but it's really fun. It's action packed. It's there's some platforming in it that's kind of not the greatest part, but that's really not why you're playing the game. There's lots of attacks and almost like bullet hellish at times because you can use the gun part, or not the gun, but like a blaster sort of thing that she has. And yeah, it's really well animated. It kind of reminds me of like, doesn't have any of the like sexual stuff or whatever, but it like kind of
What's
runs off the really fast like Senran Kagura kind of thing.
what's the point then?
Yeah, no, but I appreciate that. Like this could literally, I don't know if they are planning that at all, but this literally could be an anime if they wanted to
Right.
be. So yeah, it's really enjoyable game. So if you like those, definitely well worth checking out for sure. And don't think it's like too long either. So that's a plus as well. And then this week, or this past week, we had 2 games come out. One that I talked about already because I played the demo, which was like 20 minutes. But I got past where the demo is, and I'm like, I don't know, probably another 2 hours in of 1348 Ex Voto. This is the one that's set in like 13th century, like Italy and medieval times, sort of. And you are playing as a lesbian. I don't remember her name, but you're trying to save your girlfriend Bianca, who's like the last person that you know that is still alive because both of your parents are dead. And it starts out with the whole town that you live in is burning, and you're trying to I guess you don't really save anybody. You're just trying to, like, I guess, get through it and take out the vagabonds that have done this to your town that you live in. And you're part of like the, you know, knight army or whatnot of the town. It's basically built around this battle system that has a light attack and a heavy attack. And I'm not okay. Like, this is probably, I hate saying that because I love everything else about the game, but it's probably the worst game that I reviewed out of this entire thing. It's buggy. There's a lot of times where I got stuck and I had to like constantly move the controller around till I finally was able to get the character out of the way, because there's
Right.
a lot of platforming, not platforming, but there's a lot of you're moving around because it's open zone. And it doesn't tell you where you're going. You kind of have to take hints by the fact that, oh, she started talking, so I'm kind of going the right way. And especially in the town area, a lot of it can look the same. And then when you get out to the next area, which is very, very open, just this bunch of rocks and mountains everywhere, and then there's like water, and it feels like you should be going one way, but you don't. And then like the only way you figure out you're going the wrong way is because it's blocked off. But then you already walked all the way over there, and it's a lot of doesn't respect your time kind of thing. And I understand that it's an indie game. I'm giving it a lot of grace for that. But the fighting part of it is not that fun either. They made a big deal about the fighting system, and the dodge, it's not a rolling dodge, it's a go backwards dodge. So that thing kind of doesn't work a lot of times.
Backstep.
Yeah, it's a backstep. And then it automatically blocks light attacks when you do the L trigger. So that's really not fun because it doesn't feel like you're doing the blocking. You're putting up your sword and it automatically blocks, and you have a meter that essentially runs out, and you have to hope to God that you hit them Now, once the meter runs out, if you keep hitting them, they're gonna die because you don't give them enough time for the meter to. They have a meter and you have a meter, right? So essentially, once you figure out that like the people that have the heavy weapons, you have to use the heavy attack to be able to get back at them, and then the ones that have the daggers and the swords use the light attack. It kind of becomes like brainless almost. So there's not too much of a strategy. When you're trying to figure that out, it feels like it's just being rough on you on purpose. And sometimes it does feel like that because you're blocking and it's like, I'm blocking, but I have to deal with this meter that just happened to run out because he hit me too many times. And it's like, I don't know how many times. It's very gracious at saving. So you're not going to like lose a bunch of progress or whatever. You save, it saves constantly. So that's not the problem. It's just more of like, oh man, I'm having to fight these like 4 enemies again and again and again. And then, oh, finally I got it. And then it's like, oh my God, why this still wasn't that hard at all. It's just really kind of annoying. So it's like, again, love the setting. It's not that long of a game. It's like 5 hours. Actually don't mind the story, even though it kind of jumps around a lot. So you don't really get what it's trying to kind of say. You know, I love the fact that they really kind of tried for this. Why can't I think of the name right now? Plague Tale kind of vibe with it. You know, also has like those graphics kind of look like it as well. But it's just like, man, it's the bugginess and the fighting, the battle system kind of being one note is kind of brings it down. Right. And the upgrade system is also kind of very one note as well. You know, there's only like a couple of things that you're really upgrading aside from your health and all that. So,
sounds like that Romeo's a Dead Man game.
Yeah, I mean, look, I wanted to like it a lot more than I think I wound up liking it, and it sucks because like it drew me in. It's one of those games I didn't do a lot of research. Normally, I do a lot of research before I decide I want to review the game because obviously you don't want to be reviewing something that you're going to wind up hating or whatever. Right. But because of everything that they throw in the trailer, whatever, it's like, oh man, I want to review that, and then. It's kind of disappointing, and that happens sometimes, you know. The last one before I get to Pokopia, which technically I'm going out of order, but I wanted to leave the big game for last. Mr. Sleepy Man, which is another 3D platformer, but this is I had a comparison to it, and now I can't like think of it, but it is hilarious. It's essentially built around like very much an homage to like Super Mario 64. The beginning is literally you are playing a knockoff Nintendo 64, and then it pulls you into the world, and then you're literally just there. There's a guy that talks to you because you've been asleep, and it's ridiculous. Like it's so silly.
I mean, it sounds like Comic Jumper.
Like it's and literally the game is just you're doing platforming stuff, but it's like all over the place because you're kind of doing these like tasks with these people, and you'll go into a place and you'll have moments where you are doing like, okay, I'm going through but it's not like I'm going through a course, right? Like Demon Tide is much more traditional that way. Like it feels like you're going through this part and whatever. And this Superman feels like it's a kind of very all over the place. Like it's there to kind of be more about making you laugh, having gags everywhere. You have these random people that would just hit you for no reason. And then you have to like, you'll find these pillows all over the place. And then that's your weapon is the pillows. So then you can go and hit the back with the pillows and knock them. And you don't kill anyone in the game. You just knock them out, basically. But it's very it's fun. Like I just enjoy the fact that you just do random stuff. There's not really a direction that much either. You're kind of just going, exploring around the world and like, oh, okay, this has like a sort of a segment to it. So I need to get through all of this to get whatever I need to get. There's these like little star looking things that you need to obtain as well. So that's kind of part of the mission too. Still, this is also not that long of a game either. If you kind of figure out the actual route, it's like you could literally do it in like 4 or 5 hours from what I've seen. But I just appreciate that he went all over the place with this and really kind of led into that. The theme song that you might have heard on one of that plays in the pause menus. Every time you pause the game, it plays the Mr. Sleepy Man theme, and it's ridiculous. So you get reminded of that every time. Yeah, so I just appreciate that it just goes into the bit. It took me a while to figure out that it doesn't really have a set like, oh, here's level 1, here's level 2. Like you kind of have to make your own route with it. But again, I think it's all part of the like, it really wants to be humorous and just kind of like, hey, we're wacky and all that. And this one actually kind of works. There's some games that do it and it just doesn't work at all. This game kind of it does work out in the end. The last game is Pokémon Pokopia, which has already sold 2.2 million copies in 4 days. I can't imagine how many it's sold now. We're like, what, a week
2.5
since it launched, week and a half. And I could definitely tell. I mean, I tried, so I had to wait a whole 24 hours for my $70 digital eShop card to show up. I wonder if that has to do with like maybe they ran out of them, people buying them to be able to buy the game digitally, perhaps if they didn't buy just straight off the store. It's sold out in a lot of places physically. It's still sold out in a lot of places physically because Nintendo apparently did not think this game was going to do these kind of crazy numbers. And yeah, it's Dragon Quest Builders, but with Pokemon. And a little bit of Animal Crossing because it does want you to like decorate your house and you know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
There's a little bit of Minecraft as well because you're essentially rebuilding the whole island, and then you can like actually. I just got before we started recording, I had just got Hitmonchan, and he does Rock Smash, and that allows you to essentially punch through walls and other stuff. So that I found my first other area, and it's another huge area. Like it's how big this. It's like wow. I thought this was like okay, the one area you're kind of building up this. Like no, there's just way more other biomes, in there. And I did find I found like I forgot what it's called, the Pokemon that's like a bee with like 3 beehives or whatnot. The one Pokemon that I found that was not from Red and Blue.
Beezor.
Yeah, but you start out with Charmander, Squirtle, and Bulbasaur, and then it kind of expands from there depending on what area you decide to like water and put grass in and that kind of stuff. And you have a Tangela that is the one that helps you. Ironically, I think that's supposed to be the like evolved form of Tangela. I can't remember the name right now, but look, I'm not a survival craft person. I'm furthest from that. But there's something about this game, the way that it doles the things out at you, without making you feel overwhelmed, that I think you have to give Koei Tecmo and Omega Force and Nintendo credit.
Well, it's like
that
the I don't want to say baby, but like the easier form of Dragon Quest Builders or like one of those types of games, right?
Yeah, like Minecraft can make you feel like really overwhelmed.
Oh
if
yeah.
you're not a creative person, right? Like me, I'm just not the type of like Where the hell do I put this house?
I'm the same way, pretty much. So.
Like they let you have the freedom to put things where you want, but they give you a starting point.
Right.
And they say, all right, this is where Bulbasaur's grass is. So if you want to do stuff for Bulbasaur, you can build around this area, and then Squirtle's gonna appear. Right. And then Charmander will appear, and Charmander will help you because he can put flames, he can light things up, right? And Bulbasaur and Squirtle both give the Ditto the ability to basically essentially make grass and then make tall grass so you can have other Pokemon appear. And then it's cool. Like, it's really like dynamic the way that they have the Pokemon show up. It takes time. When I built my first house, like, it actually will tell you, oh, this is going to take till 6:30. So you can go do other stuff while we're building your house here. And yeah, it just, I just love the pacing. They give you challenges to do. So you always feel like you got I mean, look, Dragon Quest Builders did the same thing. So yeah, they nailed the formula. I know, listen, I was a Power World fan too, so I know Power World technically did this stuff first. But I always said if Pokemon were able to grab that formula or grab the Dragon Quest Builders Minecraft formula and make a Pokemon game out of it, it would sell hotcakes because this is the genre right now. This is what people like playing, aside from the other kind of like playing with your friends games. So yeah, Nintendo did a great job of kind of biting on that. And now they have a huge hit on their hands, and it's going to be interesting. Will they give this more support than they have Animal Crossing? Right? Will they stick with this for the long haul, even though they were not planning on doing that? Or is this going to be one of those things where they just go, oh, well, okay, there's plenty of game here. Hopefully, hope you got your fun, and that's it. I hope that they see the success and go, okay, we've got to add more Pokemon here. We've got to add more islands or whatever. You can play with your friends also. It kind of sucks. I wish you could have 2 islands on one game so that, my daughter could have an island and I could have mine. And I don't have to feel like,
there's an easy solution to that problem. Buy another copy.
Yeah, I just have $70 laying around.
Just like with Animal Crossing, the Switch one.
I just wish that they kind of plan for that you might have more than one person in your family that's going to want to play this game. But I get it, like you said. But that also requires me to have another Switch too, which that's another $500. So no, definitely not doing that. But yeah, look, I'm really enjoying this game. I think I'm gonna have to keep myself from playing it, so I can review, play more of the games I need to actually review. But yeah, I think it deserves all of the praise that it's been getting, being the #1 Pokemon rated game ever, and being one of the highest rated games already this year, right there behind Resident Evil Requiem. So yeah, this is going to be interesting where this lands for people on the Game of the Year talk. We'll have our little own Game of the Year talk on the Monday show, just because I imagine there's not going to be a lot of news since we're doing this show on a Saturday. But yeah, that's it for the games this week. A lot of games talk here. So before we get out of here, the games talk, a few more things. Resident Evil Requiem has sold over 5 million copies, and that was in 5 days. So I can imagine it's probably closer to 6 or 7.
It's double the quality of the Pokemon game.
Yeah. Capcom has figured out the formula. Whether Mark likes all of it or not. They have people. It definitely draws people in. It is working for folks. And at the end of the day, it sells, right? This is why they're remaking every freaking game, it feels like, in the series, even to the point where there are early discussions that they are early development on another Resident Evil 1 remake.
Yeah, they're remaking the game for the fucking third or fourth time.
Yeah, so that kind of tells you where they're like, they are really going into every one of our Resident Evil games has to be modern now. I wonder how long it'll take before we get the announcement that, hey, this only one's left. We might as well do 5 and 6, right?
I think 5 might be theoretically closer than you think, but the one that like no one cares about is Resident Evil 0.
Well, but they're 0 for sure. They've already said 0 and Code Veronica are next,
right?
And then 1 is kind of like years off, and there's been rumors about 5, but then somebody said that 5 is not in development at all. So who knows?
Right.
Honestly, it doesn't matter. It's so far down the line that I'm sure there will be Resident Evil 10 before we get to the 1 remake and whatever they're doing with 5 and 6. So yeah. But still a crazy feat for Capcom. I wouldn't be surprised if it does just as much as the Monster Hunter did last year, where Monster Hunter jumped out to like 10 million. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if by the year's end we get close to like a really high number for Requiem. Because yeah, man, these games have been selling. They do a great job with them. They've already announced DLC, one for Grace and one for Leon, and also like a mini game thing as well. So there's more stuff coming.
That'll be like the mercenaries mode, most likely.
Yeah, most likely. You're right about that. And they always tend to do it. They've been doing it, so
right.
Like, why not? Also, Slay the Spire 2, which I will probably wind up getting at some point here within the next couple weeks, is also absolutely just hitting it. Not to anybody's surprise, right? Like, Slay the Spire 1 was an absolute banger, like indie darling. Slay the Spire 2 already within the first like day had 526,000 concurrent players on Steam, which is crazy. It's a lot very familiar to the first game apparently, but there is some new stuff. So we'll see. Is it going to have a Hades 2 effect where it gets the great reviews and all that, but people maybe wind up not being as sold on it the further we get into the year? So we'll see on that, but I'm sure it will also be a lot big time in the conversation for that game of the year when we get to it there. So yes, that's the two like gaming sales things before we get into this. And really quick, before we get into the Xbox talk, Valve has gone on record. Not only have they responded to the New York lawsuit, essentially claiming that they have a right to allow you to trade your digital things, because isn't it the same as allowing you to trade Pokemon cards or baseball cards, or you can also trade Ultimate Team people in the EA games. So like, why would that be any different for Valve? I think they're right about that. For sure. Loot boxes and stuff being considered gambling. We've seen other countries put the hammer down on that. Again, him using them using the analogy of, well, isn't it gambling also to go crazy about Pokemon cards or baseball cards or basketball cards or whatever? I don't know. I think digital is a little bit different because, you have more people have access to it, right?
Well,
yeah.
it's a good and bad argument. It's a good argument in the fact that like he's right technically that there are a ton of shit that people collect or buy into for
Right.
stuff like that, like sports cards, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
even what other stuff. The problem or the different, and also like at least with loot boxes, at least with like some of like Dota 2 shit, like you get like odds on it or like TF2,
Yeah.
like 1 in 10, or you'll get the weapon you want or something. You don't get that in Pokemon cards. But
Yeah.
the bad argument or the bad side is like with Magic and Pokemon and stuff, you actually get a tangible physical item.
Right.
Like you know,
And also it's harder for a child to go into a store and
right?
buy that without their parents knowing.
Yeah,
Whereas digital, very easy nowadays for a kid to get into your
I mean,
phone or whatever and use your card, and they bought a bunch of stuff, and
I would say the counter to
yeah.
that would be like, hey, parents just got to smarten up and not save their payment info or like lock it down better.
Right, but I'm just saying it is much easier when you, let's say they're already playing this game, right?
Right.
Or teenagers, whatever, don't have to be kids.
Yeah.
Who are much smarter about that. They know how to get into Steam. They already use it. They're playing the game, and it's very easy for them to oh, hey, yeah, loot box, buy it, whatever.
That's what I mean,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
If you take out your payment info or whatever, then they can't open it.
Well, right, I know what you're saying, but even teenagers nowadays, they can have an account for themselves,
Right.
with
Most of them aren't
Cash
gonna have
App, PayPal, whatever,
right. But you
and
still need a credit card or bank
yeah,
account somewhere.
yeah. But I'm just
Right.
saying they may have one on their own that's not yours,
Right.
and so they go, oh, I have $30 in here, and it keeps telling them, oh yeah, get the loot box for this thing and this thing, and you turn around and they've already spent the $40 on that before they did anything, right?
Right.
So again, I don't think the state of New York's going to win anything. I think at some point Valve is going to be able to prove that they're right.
Right.
But I think it's very similar to the Monopoly case that they have, and also PlayStation now has, which I think PlayStation actually, to me, is in bigger trouble than Valve is, because you don't have to buy the games on Steam to be able to. I understand the argument that was brought up about there's like 20,000 games that are released on Steam, and only like even less than 50% of them make enough money to get over the whatever Valve charges,
Right.
right? That's kind of part of the game, right? Like Steam's been around so long, they are the de facto store.
Right.
It's not really, they're not allowing you to buy it off something else, right? Whereas PlayStation is not allowing you to buy the game anywhere else digitally except for their store. And that is where I have a problem with that. Like, I should be able to go onto GameStop.com and buy a digital code for the game directly from there. I should be able to go on whatever it's called, Loaded now. It used to be called CD Keys, and
Okay.
buy the if I want to buy a digital copy that costs $5 less, I should be able to go on that store and buy it. You want to tell me that I can't buy the microtransaction from somewhere else? Cool, whatever. I get it that they're saying that this is how they keep the costs low on the PlayStation 5, which to me is BS. That's just them. Again, they want to have control.
Yeah.
I just think that, like, the way that games are nowadays, I don't think you should be able to have competition for your prices. Whereas PlayStation gets to set the price because you can't buy the game digitally anywhere else unless you just either you buy physical and you don't want it. Like I don't want to have a physical thing that I don't get physical games anymore.
But that's just like your weird hang up, you know? Like okay, you got Pokopia, which is $70, right?
Right.
What if the physical version was 20?
It is. I mean, I think that's different though. But I'm talking
No,
about.
I mean, no, but the same thing happens with PS5 games, you know? And
Right, but you should be able to go on a store that decided that they wanted to put the game on sale for 40 instead of 60, and I should be able to buy it there without having to without having to wait to see if Sony will do a sale or something. Like that.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying. You know,
CD websites and CDK websites and shit sell keys. I mean, that's a very gray market.
yeah.
But even like I think certain stores might do that as well.
But I mean, like at least PC, you have Epic, you have GOG, you have what used to be Humble Bundle, now it's like Valor or whatever. You have all Green Man Gaming, you have all these other places that will have a different price on a game, right? PlayStation, not PlayStation first party games, but games that are not theirs should be able to do the same, just like you can with an Xbox code, technically.
Well, I mean,
but
you keep bringing up Sony, but Nintendo does the same thing. Like
Nintendo is different, I feel like, because Nintendo's is nobody makes. They make carts. They don't make, they make those carts. They make the and Nintendo games, obviously they set the price, right? Whatever. But the thing is with Nintendo is very few games are exclusive to the Switch 2 and are never going to go somewhere else. Third party, right? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Sony can set the price for their first party stuff, whatever they want, right? That's their game. I'm talking about if you only own a PS5 and you buy digital, you're screwed to whatever Sony wants to set the price. I think that's messed up. To me, it's like the Apple thing. Like if Capcom wants to sell their game for 40% off, you can do that. They should be able to do that on any store and not only have to buy it through the PSN. But whatever. That's another story for another day. Moving on to Xbox stuff. It was funny because when we were going to do the show on Monday, all they had done was announce that Project Helix was a thing, which is essentially the next Xbox, the one that we feel like is coming out in 2027, or they've made allusions that it's coming out then. Now we know that it could still technically come out, but now that we know that the dev kits are not coming until early 2027, maybe they push it. But that's not necessarily the case because for the last two consoles, they've had this where they have they have the dev kits go out early in the year, and then the system still comes out late that same year.
Yeah, but the problem with that philosophy is the Series X launch and the Xbox One launch previously both sucked.
The Series X launch didn't suck. That was COVID. The system sold just fine.
I meant like the launch lineup then, not the system itself, but I mean like that's a very bad philosophy if they're like, oh, dev units won't be out until 2027. Like, let's say even January,
right?
And then going like, hey, the system will be out in November, so you got 10 months to hopefully work on this game and get it up to snuff in this thing. Good luck. Like, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, definitely we'll see. Like, what does Microsoft even have going on themselves, because all their big games are coming out this year. Or early next year. So like, what do you have for the launch of the next Xbox or whatever?
It was also funny. I saw a post from some guy who worked at. He didn't work at Xbox itself. I think he worked with like Microsoft or something.
Right.
But he basically said like, "Oh, dev units are going to be a thing of the past."
I mean, they just said that they were going to have dev kits, so
Right. Or like he was alluding to like, oh, because like Xbox, the Series X and S has a like developer mode.
right.
But you still need like the reason dev kits are useful is because they have additional features, like hardware features that can help with debugging and getting the game to run better.
Yeah, I mean, and technically these are going to be alpha versions of the dev kits. So again,
Right.
it may just be
I mean,
that.
yeah, it's not going to be like the final form factor. It's just going to be a PC in a box, basically.
Yeah. So again, it may allude to them like not actually releasing until 2028. So
Right.
And there's really not a rush to have it come out in 2027 because we know PS6 is also not coming out until then. Even if they come out early in 2028, I think they're still beating out whatever PlayStation is doing. I do think that they need to try to get out before PlayStation 6 does, because then you run into the problem of, oh, well, they're both next gen. I already have the PS5.
Yeah.
I'm definitely not,
I completely agree with that, but also I think Xbox or Microsoft is really going to try to cram Copilot and AI nonsense into this thing.
Well, I mean, they already are.
Yeah,
they already announced that Copilot's coming this year. So,
and that's what's going to kill it, not whether or not it comes out before or after the PS6.
I mean, if you have a way to disable it, I don't think it's a big deal. If it winds up being like that PlayStation Help thing, where it's like I can just totally ignore it, then I don't care. Right? That you can stick that in there all you want, as long as I don't have to interface with it. Much like on my laptop, I just shut it off and I never use it ever. Then cool. If you make me use it and make me not want to use the system, then we have a problem, which I just don't think that they will. But
this thing should also be called the Project Helix box. Just lean into the stupid naming convention.
I mean, Xbox Helix doesn't sound like a bad name, honestly. Way better than Xbox Series X and S and Y and all that.
It doesn't sound like a stock market or a stock trader test.
Yeah. So okay, here's what's actually going to be in it. Xbox VP of Next Gen, Jason Ronald, not only talked about the dev kits or whatnot. They had like a slide that kind of had some info on here. A lot of this is mumbo jumbo that you're really not gonna do much with until we see it firsthand. But it's a custom AMD system on a chip, co-design for next gen DirectX, next gen ray tracing, GPU direct work graphic execution. It has the AMD FSR next version of that, neural rendering, next generation machine learning upscaling, all the AI stuff, deep texture compression, and it also promises to play not only Xbox games but PC games as well. And it is going to be, they're not really talking about this the way that they, when Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond were talking about it, where they were very much talking about it like this is a PC. I don't know if they were trying to just hide that because they've made it such a big deal about this is a console, this is an Xbox. They removed all of this is an Xbox promotion marketing stuff on purpose because they are making it a point that this is a console, an Xbox first. It is going to go into it. I don't think it's not going to go into the same thing that the Series X does. It's very much going to be probably a version of that Xbox mode or full screen experience. But it is going to try to keep you in the Xbox part of it, and then you can go out and go into full Windows if you want. But they're not there's no talk about other storefronts so far. Like when Phil and Sarah Bond were talking about it, all they talked about was like, oh, you can play your Steam games on here. You can play your Epic games on here. They're not talking about that at all. They are acting like this is an Xbox that also has Windows. They work together. You build for one, you're building for both. So there's not that much like, oh my God, I got to build for Xbox or I got to build for PC and then I got to build a whole another Xbox thing. This is essentially, they're making it essentially blend so that when you build for whichever one you want to work on, you're already building for the other one. And that's a cool if that actually works like that, where it cuts their dev time by a lot and it makes it easier for people to make an Xbox version of the game, or you could just play the PC one. They did say consoles, so don't know if that means PS5 Switch or if that means, oh, you can play it on Series X and S or whatever. I have a feeling that we're going to get to the point where they are going to do timed exclusivity for games. Maybe not the ones that have already been announced, obviously, because they're already announced. They're already in the pipeline, whatever. But when we get to that console, I do think we may get into more of like, oh, we're going to do time exclusivity. We're going to have 6 months, a year where this is only on PC and this Xbox. We're not going to put it on PS5 or Switch or whatever, because if you don't at least do that, I don't see the point of why you need to buy this unless you're going to count on the people that didn't buy a laptop, didn't buy a PC in this time that we've had the RAM shortage or whatever. They don't have the money to go all the way out there and buy that, but maybe they can find a way to pay $1,000, or you do it with Klarna or Firm, whatever, and you pay it monthly, and you get essentially a really good PC that plays Xbox games too. But if you don't give somebody an incentive to buy your system outside of the fact that it plays also PC and Xbox games, I don't see how this is going to sell to anyone. What do you think?
I agree mostly, but I just get the sneaking feeling that like in a heads-up test between or heads-on fight between like the new Xbox and like a Steam machine, I think most consumers are going to gravitate towards the Steam machine because Valve has a much people trust Valve a lot more, and Microsoft, like the brand of Microsoft and Xbox has been in the dump for like the past decade or at least 5 years. You know, like why? Unless like they come out with like a banger of a game, console exclusive game every month for the next 4 years that this thing's out, which that's obviously not gonna happen. I just think people would rather screw the Steam machine more.
Yeah, I mean, for one, the Steam machine's price is going to matter here,
right?
Also, the fact that I don't know, I just will there be? The thing is, you already have Steam, you already have a PC that plays these games. Right. How many people are going now? I think as we've gone on and more, the games that are big right now are indies, right? As we're going to talk about here with the Newzoo stuff, sure. Indies, the survival genre, the French slop, they're calling it French slop genre. Right. That stuff is mainly PC, right? It takes a while to come on consoles if it does at all.
Yeah.
If you tell somebody, okay, you don't have to have the best graphics in the world to play most of these games, and this thing is $800,
right?
Will somebody take that as opposed to, oh, I have Xbox games, I'm willing to pay an extra $200 or $300 to get the next Xbox thing that will also be able to play those games too, because it's also a PC. That's going to be an interesting thing. How much in the marketing will that be made clear that you will be able to play your PC? And then that's the thing too, right? Is like, are they eventually going to reveal that your Steam library works on this thing, or are they going to only make it about Windows and Xbox, and you're going to have to side load Steam? And yeah,
if it's like that, then the thing is like dead on arrival as far as like, you know, it's a PC or whatever, you know.
Yeah, I think they're not gonna make it and it's smart, right? It's smart to the consumer that isn't in the weeds like we are. You're watching the show, you watch other podcasts, you know, you listen to the gaming news every day.
Right.
We know that you're going to be able to install Steam because it has Windows in it. But the consumer that doesn't pay attention to that stuff, if you don't put it front facing and you don't make it a big deal, it could just be a surprise that you get when you buy the console and you're just thinking you're buying an Xbox, right? And you know, they don't want you to not buy stuff from the Microsoft store. They want you to still buy stuff from the Xbox store. Right. They just, you know, that's going to be interesting too. Are they going to disable purchasing through Steam on the actual console? You still have to go to your computer to buy the game, and then all of a sudden the game will appear in your library. Because I don't see, I mean, I know it's just going from one place to the other. You can literally go on your phone and do the same thing. But it's like, if you're letting people go on your console and skip your store entirely and buy the same game off another store where you make no money, I don't see how that helps you.
Right.
But, you know, it is what it is. I mean, technically, I could just go on my laptop, my computer that I have next to it, and buy the thing. But
well, I know it wasn't Tim Sweeney, but it was some other Epic guy. He basically said like, "Oh, when the next Xbox comes out, we fully expect to have at the Epic Game Store on it at launch." Yeah, and it's like, all right, I guess, you know.
When they were making that a big deal and they were talking about it, I fully expected that too. They were all there, all those stores, except for like GOG was on there, Steam was on there, Epic was on there. Right. You know, so that's really going to be an interesting thing as far as where do they ever say that in the marketing? Do they ever talk about that? Or is that just something that they mention? Oh, well, you can play your PC library. We're not going to tell you which PC stores, but you can kind of imagine that in your head. Right.
The only library to pull from is itch.io.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. But look, this all sounds great in theory. This is what they've been saying. I do appreciate them trying to make this about Xbox. They are calling it a console. How much of a console it is going to be interesting. You know, they did reveal that the Xbox mode, it is no longer being called the full screen experience anymore. It's now called Xbox mode. It's going to be available on Windows 11 PCs, laptops, whatever, anything with an on and off switch that is a PC. In
my fridge, right?
And select regions. I imagine it's going to come to the US here at some point in April. So I'll be able to test that, see how it works. I wonder if that works better without having the layer of Asus crap that's on the ROG Ally. Right. Because it is kind of a neat idea of like, just, okay, I'm on my, all I've heard though is, okay, if you're using Game Pass stuff or you're playing stuff off the Xbox app, it works great. If you're trying to use Steam or whatever, it didn't work that great when this first, you know, came out. Maybe now that they've had the time to tinker with it and whatever, and they're actually releasing it onto laptops and PCs now, maybe they fixed it and it works better. There was also, I think someone said something about like the system, the new Xbox may be able to like load the shaders and stuff like that while you're also downloading the game, so that it all kind of downloads at once and not like, oh, I downloaded the game. Oh, and now I have to download the shaders. Now I have to download the drivers. Now I have to like do all the stuff that you would do with your PC, which is very annoying, right? If you're playing a AAA game that requires that stuff, like I haven't had to do that at all with my laptop because I've been playing indies. But
I actually did have to do that like a few days ago. I loaded up Assassin's Creed Shadows for a second, and it looked like janky as shit.
Yeah,
And I was like, what's going on here? Like, this doesn't like normally look like this. It goes all pixelated and crap. And like, I googled it, and yeah, I had to rebuild the shaders. Like, I had to like
that
delete
makes
the
sense.
file in the directory, and then I had to like re-download them. I'm like, A, this is fucked. But then B, why isn't this just an option in like the game menu?
Right.
Like rebuild or reorg or rescan the directory to make sure this is all correct.
Yeah. I did like that this is GDC. It's very developer focused, so they've really tried to tell developers on this is going to be very easy for them to make the games, more seamless for them, less work for them. So if that really does help, so that rendering is a lot easier and being able to make both versions of the game at once. Hey, that's awesome, right? That's one thing that does help to make sure that people want to keep making games on your system. If you make it really simple for them to make games on it, they'll make games for it. If you make it really difficult, then they won't. And obviously having this kind of be a dual thing, I think maybe you don't lose people, even though there's that report that there's not a lot of excitement for people want to make Xbox games. Maybe this keeps those people still around, right? Instead of like, well, this thing's going to sell even less than the other one, so why not? I mean, maybe it helps so that if they don't have to do a lot of work, they can still make that Xbox version anyway. It'll be interesting to see if like some of these devs that don't make Xbox versions at all, if it is that simple, will they start making them just to see if they can get a new audience there with the Xbox folks that have wanted to play their games, like let's say NIS America and Falcom and those kind of folks, right? As examples. So that have now fully gotten into the PC realm, but still not adopted Xbox because they are primarily Japanese
Right.
devs and they cater to that audience that they're not even they're not even concerned with the Xbox crew there. But one last thing here before we move on to talk about a little bit about PlayStation. Satya Nadella was in that meeting where Asha Sharma was president, where they had a meeting with the rest of the dev team. In a report that was shared by Windows Central, of course, Jez Corden, he said he mentioned that he is long on Xbox. That gaming is the largest entertainment category. It's the most expansive form going forward. We're not going to walk away from it. We're long on gaming. We're going to continue to invest. We'll always do so. It's up to this team to show an excellence in execution and creativity. Software always carries risk, but this is software with lots of creation risk. It's way different. But yet we have to be the best in class at it, is what he says. He looks at reports, the level of hijacking our attention that's going on. I want us to reverse that. Joy in coding, joy in gaming. That's all I want us to live in. He's saying the right things here, obviously.
Except for when he doesn't say the part where he goes, and once we figure out how you can make AI make good games, you're all fired.
Right, which that's not going to happen. But yeah, look, that's good that the guy that is the one that makes the decisions is saying these things.
I think he's saying it. I don't think he believes it.
Right, how long is the leash really? Right? How long is that leash actually? Like how many of these games kind of doing middling or whatever, or if Call of Duty keeps going down,
right.
Let's say, even though it has won the month the last 2 months or whatever, but still, if it's still underperforming compared to where it has been, again, listen, we still have had no mention of Game Pass from anybody since Asha has taken over.
Right.
So, they did release the what's coming out in March or whatever, and that kind of stuff, but it's like we're not seeing this like, oh, it's part of the package kind of thing. Where like, Phil and Sarah used to make that such a huge deal, right? It is still about play anywhere. It is about like, oh, you can play it on PC and you can play it on Xbox, but they are not talking about Game Pass. So that's an interesting kind of thought on it too. Like, does that plug eventually get pulled down the line here for this?
I don't think it'll completely go away, but the enshittification of it will just continue. Or it'll get more
if you make it any more expensive,
right,
it's kind of pointless.
Or it'll be like less important games or games that no one cares about. It's like, well, why?
I still think if you're releasing like, so this month had what, Planet of Lana 2, which is sort of a an indie darling or whatever for them, right? If you get, let's say, like 2 or 3 at that level, or 4 a month, and we're talking about, each of these are like $20-$30. I kind of just depends on you, right? If you play those games or not. They are getting more AAA games, right? Even though they're, older, right? We're talking about, they got Cyberpunk 2077. They got both the Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 and 2 and Resident Evil Village just in the last, the 3 months since this year started. So they definitely took that money and have brought it into bringing more AAA stuff. But, Kingdom Come Deliverance isn't that old. Number 2, sorry, isn't that old. But, it's still, even though it was a big, like, critically acclaimed game, I don't know how much of a, like, out of our realm game that was for people. So it is going to be interesting, like, past the EAs and the Ubisofts that they have the deals with. Will they get anything like on the newish side when it comes to AAA for that? Or is it all still going to be, if you're only releasing like one big indie every 2 weeks or something, I don't know that that's still worth the $30. And a lot of those, the AAAs are, because they're old, they're coming into the premium tier. So like, if there's anything, it's like that $15 tier is actually worth the money right now. But the $30 one for the day one stuff really kind of isn't at this point. So, but we'll see. Like I said, I just find it interesting how much they have not talked about it since Asha's been around. So, yeah, I wonder where they stand with that. That would be interesting for somebody to ask.
Trying to figure out a way to bootstrap Copilot into that thing also.
I'm sure that's already that's coming. That's already been announced that's coming at some point this year as sort of like a game help kind of thing. But we'll see how intrusive it actually is or not. If you could just turn it off, which would be nice. That would be the most ideal one, is to just be able to turn it off.
I want it to be the opposite, where it'd be awesome if it, like, when I'm playing Resident Evil Requiem, I'd be like, you do the speed demon trophy. Let me know when you're done. I'll get back to this.
Please don't. Right? Like, let it do it for you.
Right.
That was that talk about with the PlayStation AI thing, was that would eventually be able to like just play the game for you, or
right,
whatever.
And then it never happened.
Yeah. No, that's a patent that actually hasn't been implemented or whatever. But we'll see if it ever does. But
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of that, Jason Schreier did put out the official report that he mentioned he was going to do when we talked about the what he said on the Triple Kick podcast, where he essentially says a lot of the same stuff. I don't think we need to really go over it again. That it's going to be multiplayer titles only, like Marathon and Robotocon. Marathon's already out. That's also out on Xbox because they're multi-platform. The single player stuff like Ghost of Yote, Soros. The Ghost of Yote actually was already planned and they canned it. And yeah, their single player stuff is not going to come to PC now for the reasons that we kind of already outlined before. But I guess having that official report kind of like crystallizes it, like they really are not going to do this. Any like different thoughts from when we talked about this the first time, or just kind of the same feeling on it?
I saw something that like Sony might be a little more scared of Valve than like Xbox,
right?
Like the Steam machine. So I could see this as like their way of trying to counter that somewhat.
Yeah,
They don't really care about Marathon. If it sells on Steam, it's a small loss, but they probably figure like,
but they need the users.
Well, right? But they also figure like, if people buy cosmetics or whatever, then we still get some money from that.
Right.
It'll balance out. But if it's like, Spider-Man 2 or Last of Us or something, that's like, well, here's 30% not going to us, and it's not driving people to the PlayStation either. Like, what's the point?
But I think also the thing is that what's the bigger deal is they're really not going to get the money that you would get from that unless they went full Xbox about it.
Right.
And they're not going to, because then that really is going to hurt them. Right. So
I mean, that's the traditional view, but look at it now with RAM prices. If you want to get 32 gigabytes of RAM, that's damn near the price of a PS5 right now anyway. So I don't think a lot of like new PC gamers are going to go, I'm going to build a PC to play Spider-Man 2. They'd probably just go, I'm just going to buy PS5 and play Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, but I kind of understand them from the point of like, okay, maybe by the time the PlayStation 6 comes out, things have leveled out, and you don't want to give anybody the incentive of, oh, I can just wait and it'll come to the PC. I'll just get me a new PC or a new laptop and I'll just wait for those games, right?
Yeah.
But I think also it's just like you having such a weird schedule about it and having it be a year and a half, 2 years, a year, that is also hurting you, because by then people they don't care, or the novelty is worn off, right? Like, I already played the ones I wanted. I don't really care about the ones that you haven't played out yet or whatever. And, it's just, I feel like I kind of get them. It costs a lot of money also to port those things over. And, a lot of them are coming out not great. So why damage your brand that way too, of having the port come out buggy and shitty, and people are like, oh, Sony doesn't care about this. Why should I waste my money on this PC version? So just don't even put it on there in the first place, and you don't even have to worry about it. So I think at the end of the day, it's better that way, to be honest. But at least for them, right? Like, I think they end up just, you don't hurt your brand. You didn't really care about PC anyway. That was more of a Jim Ryan thing. And now everybody knows you got to buy the PlayStation 5, PlayStation 6 to play the next Spider-Man or Wolverine or whatever other, Last of Us or Intergalactic or whatever that's going to come out. So, yeah, interesting stuff here from this Newzoo report, which I know most people are not going to go read this 80-page report. That's really got to be somebody like me that likes looking at all these numbers or whatever. But they did release like some interesting stuff via GameIndustry.biz. One of them is kind of shows that whole thing about PlayStation, like why they're doing this. That 13% of players for PS4, PS5 titles are from the PC market. When the games get ported, and that it's further noted that the choice to release games on PC much later, in some cases years later, that a PlayStation specifically impacts players' decisions to pick up a game on PC. It's sort of that only 5% of players of Marvel Spider-Man 2 are on PC. The number is down from 14% of the first Spider-Man release. So again, like those numbers, the money they're making is minuscule compared to what they do on the PS5. So why bother?
Yeah.
The bigger interesting stuff that they released is twofold. One, on how much impact PC gaming is making on the market now, as compared to years past. And it also shows the change in what people are playing, right? Some of these are the same, right? Roblox is almost 10% of the PC players. You still got Counter-Strike 2 in there, League of Legends, they're kind of the same, around 7%, Minecraft 6%. Fortnite has gone down.
Good.
4%. Dota 3%. Valorant is at 3%. WoW is at like 2.5. Sims 2.3. Call of Duty is all the way down at 1.8. You got Tarkov that just debuted out of early access, is up there at 11. Marvel Rivals shot up a lot at 13. Grand Theft Auto 5 is still there at 15. Diablo 4 Wuthering Waves is there. Apex Legends barely made the list, with like 1% or something like that. So that's kind of where they're looking at it and saying Battle Royale is kind of on the way out. And the sandbox survival game is now the de facto like it game, right? Those are the ones that are except for like Escape from Tarkov, which had, all the players from all the years of being in early access, and then you got the boon from coming out of early access, and then Marvel Rivals like barely came out in 2024, like came out in December 2024, so like it was almost pretty much a 2025 game, so it got a boon from basically being new from that year. But they're kind of essentially saying that these free to play, spots that we kind of talked about like a bunch is the ones you'd expect, but then some other ones that are kind of like coming in as well that are different, like Wuthering Waves, Diablo 4, Genshin Impact kind of holding on, and some of these other ones are going out. And that in PC, we're seeing $30 to $50 games be the ones that are huge at launch, and even the ones that are less than $30. Whereas in console space, outside of those, big games, it's still very much AAA driven, but AAA is on a huge decline, which we've talked about a bunch of times. As well, and that by 2028, PC could surpass 1 billion players, and console platforms will lag at like around 688 million. Obviously, nowhere near what people playing on mobile is, but still, that's a huge jump. So that kind of says a lot as far as like you're getting a lot of people playing on PC now because of those like forever games that people are playing on whatever they can play them on, right? But even also games like Gary's Mod and Terraria, stuff like that, those are just as big or bigger than the Fortnite's, Apex Legends, and the Call of Duties or whatever now. So, and again, including Roblox and Minecraft and all that stuff too. So, the fact that like Call of Duty, Valorant, Rainbow Six Siege, Overwatch, Destiny, all at negative, Destiny 2, negative percents right now is crazy to think of. And then like Arc Raiders is another one that's like kind of like an outlier, but yeah, it just kind of shows like shooters are kind of finally taking a hit, and we're seeing a different genre kind of stand up. And that friend slap genre is definitely also getting big, right? Like Peak is not the only one. Now we have Big Walk coming this year. Whatchamacallit, Arc Raiders is kind of into that too, because that uses a lot of the proximity chat to talk to your friends thing as well. So yeah. I just thought it was kind of cool to see where like the trends are, like where we could be seeing more games pop up, in the future. And speaking of that, games going to PC thing, after 2 years of not releasing on PC, EA College Football 27 could finally make its way to PC.
Right.
Obviously, the biggest reason why they wouldn't put it on PC is because why? Mods that would allow you to have the full rosters of all the player names, which they are trying to avoid unless you sign the licensing agreement, because that's where they got into hot water the first time. So apparently they would be putting in protections to prevent PC players from being able to, download rosters or put in their own rosters or whatever. I don't know how long that would be protected. Because
about 2 hours.
Yeah, PC players always have a way of getting around that stuff.
Right. I
Yeah.
imagine like it'll do like a server check, like if you want to play online somehow.
Yeah.
That you won't be able to use mods, but for people just single player just playing on by themselves, yeah, they're gonna do it, and who cares?
Yeah, I mean, like they're saying that essentially they'll just disable mods altogether. They would not allow you to do it even offline or online. But yeah,
there'll be some Steam tutorial. It's like, oh, if you rename this Lewis script or download, it'll probably just be like a guy makes a program to like rename all the players in the game or something.
Right. Essentially, and they won't have a way to. It'll take them a while to counteract that, and then you'll still have it out there.
Right.
Look, I'm just gonna put this out there. I'd rather have the game than not have the game, because people want to just be counterproductive. They do still have most of the players,
right?
Now, as opposed to like before, where it was like they had nobody, and you really did have to have the rosters because they didn't have anybody, right? They just had the stats and stuff, but you didn't have the names. Now they're like, they really are trying, and I feel like you should give them credit for that instead of like trying to make this a problem where if someone gets upset and puts out another lawsuit, then the game is dead again. And we don't really need that. I'd rather the game exist than not. Right. One for you there, Limited Run Games announced that at the end of this month, March 27th, there's going to be a Marvel Maximum Collection that is going to include 13 iconic titles across consoles and handheld releases. Did you talk
about this earlier, like Separation Anxiety and Maximum Carnage, all that crap? Or
we did not talk about this.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, Maximum Carnage, Spider-Man versus Spider-Man Venom, all that. The arcade games, Arcade's Revenge. Right. Are you like interested in this at all, or?
I mean, I'll probably get it down the road, but just digitally. Like the X-Men arcade game is cool, but I already, I actually have it on 360 still. If I wanted to play that,
yeah.
But like Spider-Man and X-Men suck. Separation Anxiety and Maximum Carnage are like okay, but just kind of bog standard, brawlers. And the rest of that stuff I kind of don't care about.
Yeah. It's still cool that these things get made. Let's see, like, yeah.
I would be happier, honestly, if they did like an arcade pack, like the Saturday morning arcade pack, where it was like Simpsons arcade, X-Men, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, just in like $20.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
because those are like the 3 arcade games people give a shit about.
Right?
Above 35-year-olds, I should say.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. all the memories of playing all three of those games all the time.
Right. Back when arcades still existed, and
Yes, exactly. Not that we needed them to do it, but Ubisoft has actually acknowledged that the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake is real, and
Right.
it's called Assassin's Creed Black Flag Resynced, and it's going to be revealed at some point next month, according to John Goodson, the head of content for Assassin's Creed. And that all the other games that we know about are still in development. Assassin's Creed Jade, the mobile game that's being made with Tencent, is still in development. The Assassin's Creed Invictus, the new multiplayer title, is still in development. Assassin's Creed Hexy is in development, but
I know
apparently
about this one. Yeah.
Apparently it's in so ambitious that it's probably going to get delayed. But hey, at least they acknowledged it. So,
like I said the last time, I know they're going to screw up Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and that depresses me.
yes, I'm sorry.
They're actually what they did a survey, and I actually did it about the future of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
And what should be improved, and I was like, hey, get back to the main present day plot line, and then I said also don't script Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Don't dump the present day stuff in favor of microtransactions and daily quests.
Yeah, please don't.
Yeah.
Let's keep the game where it is.
If you want to do a graphical pass or restore cut content, I'm kind of all for that, because I think there was some content that was kind of cut from that game initially, but them going oh, you got to defeat 2 ships to get platinum currency so you can buy a new sail color or something. It's oh god, no. I already have enough crap as it is.
All right. Nintendo is suing the U.S. government over tariffs.
Yep.
Yes. So if for some reason you live in, which I don't blame you for not watching the news, it's all terrible. Honestly, the Supreme Court struck down Trump's tariffs that he had imposed initially, saying that he doesn't have the power to do that. So instead, he decided to up the tariffs, the global tariffs, to 15% instead of 10% on everybody that he had put tariffs on before. And Nintendo is saying that, we have standing to sue because you're costing us money and all these duties that we have to pay in tariffs.
Right.
And, they want basically their money back for all these, what they've had to pay. So it's Nintendo, man. If there's a company that could actually win, I don't put it past them.
It also doesn't help that the current DOJ and government lawyers are basically a clown show at this point. So
I know, but I mean, Nintendo is savvy with that stuff.
Right.
I could see them getting a settlement for their money.
I mean, let's hope, because they don't want to increase the price on the Switch too.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, look, if they can win, that opens the door for other people to sue. And if you get enough people suing, they're probably going to back down all this stuff. So,
yeah.
Go Nintendo for trying to go against the government. The only time you're happy that Nintendo sues, I guess. Last thing here before we get into the, how we usually end the show. NetEase, very sad here. NetEase continues to be a crappy company when it comes to all these international studios that they made a big deal about funding, and then all of a sudden in the last couple of years have decided that they no longer want to fund.
Right.
It's also really crappy because this is affecting the Nagoshi studio, the folks doing that. Nagoshi was one of the original creators of Yakuza Like a Dragon, the Yakuza series, now known as the Like a Dragon series. And he, made that game that got shown off at the Game Awards, Gang of Dragon, which looked really cool. And according to Bloomberg's Takashi Mochizuki, that NetEase will cut off funding as of May, and that the game still requires about $44 million to be made, and NetEase just said, "Yo, we don't want to pay that." So, what do you think somebody else picks it up, or you think this is it? The game's just not going to come out.
Sega should pick it up.
That'd be so
Hilarious.
hilarious if they did.
Yeah.
Yo, Microsoft, man. I know you have that deal with Sega. I wonder how they would feel about that. If you wanna, kind of.
I mean, realistically, there's only about two or three companies that would want to fund it. I think they should, but I doubt it'll happen necessarily, or we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I do wonder if Sega would get upset.
He'll have to turn to GoFundMe like Shenmue 3.
Yeah.
And it'll turn out just as well as that thing.
I mean, hey, $44 million is a lot, though.
Like, right, yeah. I'm kidding about that.
Like, yeah. I mean, if they said maybe like 10 million, I could see it. But,
right.
That's a lot. I mean, maybe Sony.
I mean, Sony or Microsoft are kind of the only two that could actually
Take-Two could be the other one, right? If they wanted to, but I
doubt it.
I don't see it unless they're gonna this is our exclusive franchise and we're gonna keep making this afterwards or whatever. But to do a one-off, I don't know that you wanna.
Or whatever Saudi money,
Yeah, like maybe EA could.
Yeah.
Do it if the Saudis whatever they end up taking it over,
right?
This just sucks. It sucks to see because, like I said, Gang of Dragon looks really cool. Hate that this is the way that if the game doesn't release, this is the way it happens because the NetEase decided to just stop funding them, which absolutely sucks.
Surprised you didn't mention the big studio stuff that happened over the past week.
Which one? I was leaving some stuff for Monday, but
the big one to me was probably EA laying off DICE.
Yeah, EA laying off people that was one of the things I was going to leave for Monday, but EA laying off people at all 4 studios that worked on Battlefield 6.
Yep.
And it was the number 1 selling game last year. Ridiculous.
Right. I mean, to be fair, there probably is some people that they may not be needed necessarily anymore, like concept artists or whatever, or who knows. But unless it's more than 10 people.
But I think the problem is also that they have to save money.
Right.
For this ridiculous deal that they've
made
with Saudis. So it sucks, but
But there's also the old adage, you got to spend money to make money, and that's what a lot of VCs don't want to do. They don't want to spend money. It's like, well then, look what happened to Kmart, look what happened to Toys R Us, look what happens to a bunch of developers nowadays,
Yeah, it really sucks.
Yeah.
I hate you're not safe. It doesn't matter what kind of game you make, how much money it makes. If these big corporations want to start laying people off, they will.
Right.
And it just sucks. It sucks to see that it's in the Western gaming market that it doesn't matter whether it's Call of Duty, whether it's Battlefield, whether it's Grand Theft Auto. Maybe Grand Theft Auto is the one that's exceptioned on that. But you can make an amazing freaking AAA game and you will still get laid off.
I had the sneaking suspicion that if Vince Zampella was still around, that this might not have happened.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people talking about that too. That this has to do with now they don't have somebody that has the clout to be able to protect them.
Right.
Which again still sucks.
Yeah.
But it's still just EA doesn't have to do it.
Right.
But in a way, they're going to justify it because of the stupid takeover that they have to.
Yeah.
But all right, let's go ahead and talk about the games that are coming out this week to end the show as we normally do. MLB The Show 26 is coming out on Tuesday. I'm sure Randy has already bought that and ready to play that thing. The newest Postal game, Brain Damaged, also comes out on Monday.
You need to have brain damage to play Postal.
I keep getting the email for it. I'm like, nope. PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC for that. Bonnie Bear Saves Frog Time, which is a really cool like indie turn-based game that I've seen a few times on PC and Switch. That comes out on Monday as well. Fallen Tier, The Ascension is a Metroid like anime kind of Metroidvania that comes out on the 17th. The newest Thomas and Friends game also comes out on the 17th. I keep seeing people talk about this, and I'm like, I don't know why, but whatever. Everwind comes out to early access on PC on the 17th. Overthrown comes out on the 18th. That's been getting a little bit of buzz. The big game, obviously, is Crimson Desert from Prolobis that comes out on the 19th. That is the newest like big AAA open world game that like is getting a lot of buzz, also getting some negative buzz as well because they haven't really shown much on the console side, kind of like Cyberpunk. It's been a lot of this is what it looks like on PC, not a lot of what it looks like on console. I do have our friend Jordan from Outer Haven. He is playing it right now. He's actually writing the review as we speak. He seems to have a lot of good things to say about it, so I'd imagine this game will probably review really well and bust out everybody's expecting people that are trying to be hateful, kind of like with Marathon, where they're seeing how much can it do badly. I don't wish any game. I hope this game does well. You need these kind of games to still do well. You don't want every AAA game that's not Resident Evil and like a big franchise. This is a known franchise, but it's also kind of like a newish IP sort of, because it was supposed to be an MMO and then they made it into this what it is. You need these kind of things to do well too, to give people hope in this that are making these big games. So Death Stranding 2 also comes out on PC. If you didn't get to play it on PlayStation, you want to play it on PC, it will be there for you this week. And Rubato, which is a 2D platformer where you play as a frog, not the one that I played. This is a different game that's also really wacky. I could say I'm reviewing it, but it comes out on the 20th. And yeah, so some cool stuff, some big stuff and cool stuff coming out this week. So get ready, that wallet, if you're want to play Crimson Desert, waiting on that.
Yeah.
But all right. Until then, folks, we will see you on Monday. We're going to talk about the Future Games Showcase, the Kind of Funny Mix Showcase, games that were kind of shown off at GDC. We'll talk about what's our kind of game of the year going into April, and we'll see if there's some news from that between now and Monday night. So until then, everybody, see you later.
Later.